Welcome to Rare Coins Value. Before you skip this video, look closely at this tiny coin. This is the 1958 1 cent, the very last wheat penny ever made in US history. Millions of people used it, but very few understand why collectors still search for it today. Some versions are common, but others can be surprisingly valuable, especially in high condition or with rare errors. In this video, I'll show you the real history, hidden details, and collector secrets behind the 1958 1 cent. So make sure you watch this video carefully and stay till the end, because what you learn next might completely change how you look at old pennies. The 1958 1 cent of the United States is one of the most historically interesting Lincoln cents because it represents the very end of an era in American coinage. By 1958, the Lincoln wheat cent design had already been in circulation for nearly half a century, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This made it the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic figure, which was a bold and emotional decision at the time. The obverse of the 1958 1 cent still carries Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, showing him facing right with strong, sharp facial features. The "In God We Trust" along the top, "Liberty" on the left, and the date, 1958, on the right complete the design. By this point, the Lincoln portrait had become one of the most recognizable images in American history, symbolizing honesty, unity, and sacrifice, especially in the post-World War II era when America was redefining its global role. The reverse of the 1958 1 cent is what truly gives this coin its special identity. It features the famous wheat ears design, with two curved wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, while E pluribus unum appears at the top. These wheat ears symbolized prosperity, agriculture, and America's rural roots, which were extremely important themes in the early 20th century. However, 1958 was the final year this wheat cent reverse was ever used. In 1959, the U.S. Mint replaced it with the Lincoln Memorial designed to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Because of this, the 1958 wheat cent holds a unique place in numismatic history as the last chapter of a design that had lasted nearly 50 years. Many collectors see it as a farewell coin, which adds emotional and historical value beyond its face value. From a production standpoint, the 1958 1 cent was minted at two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins carry a small D beneath the date. The total mintage numbers were very high, especially in Philadelphia, where hundreds of millions of coins were struck to meet everyday circulation needs. This means that the 1958 cent is not rare in general circulation, and many examples still exist today. However, condition plays a massive role in value. Coins that were heavily used in daily transactions often show wear on Lincoln's cheek, jawline, and coat, as well as flattening of the wheat ears on the reverse. Such circulated examples are common and usually worth only a small premium over face value. What truly separates an ordinary 1958 cent from a valuable one is its condition and strike quality. Uncirculated examples, especially those with full original mint luster, sharp details, and no major marks, are far more desirable. Collectors carefully examine the color of the coin, which is classified as red, red-brown, or brown. Red examples, which retain most of their original copper color, are the most valuable and hardest to find, especially after more than 6 decades. Over time, copper naturally reacts with air and moisture, turning darker brown, so a bright red 1958 cent suggests excellent storage and minimal exposure. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC play an important role in determining market value, as a high-grade certified coin can sell for many times more than an ungraded one. The metal composition of the 1958 1 cent is another important aspect of its story. It is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, giving it a solid copper feel and a warm reddish tone when well preserved. This composition was standard for U.S. cents for many decades before rising copper prices forced changes in later years. Because of its high copper content, the 1958 cent has intrinsic metal value that sometimes attracts interest during periods of high copper prices. However, its true worth remains rooted in numismatic history rather than scrap value. The weight of the coin is approximately 3.11 grams, and its diameter is 19 millimeters, matching other wheat cents of the era. Era coins from 1958 are especially exciting for collectors and can dramatically increase a coin's value. While not extremely common, errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, and planchette flaws do exist. One of the most famous errors related to this era is the 1958 double die obverse, where the inscriptions and date appear visibly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Authentic double die examples are extremely rare and can sell for very high prices at auction, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition. Because of this, collectors are always advised to carefully inspect their 1958 cents under magnification and compare them with verified examples to avoid fakes or machine doubling, which is far less valuable. Historically, the 1958 1 cent reflects a time of transition in America. The country was experiencing economic growth, suburban expansion, and technological advancement during the late 1950s. Coins like the 1958 cent passed through the hands of millions of Americans during a period marked by optimism, Cold War tensions, and cultural change. As the final wheat cent, it symbolizes the closing of a chapter that began before World War I and ended just before the modern era of U.S. coin design. This emotional and historical connection is one reason why many collectors feel a strong attachment to the 1958 cent, even though it is not rare in a technical sense. In today's coin market, the value of a 1958 1 cent can range widely. Circulated examples are typically worth only a few cents, while uncirculated red examples can command significantly higher prices. High-grade coins with certification, especially those graded MS-66 or higher, are considered premium collectibles. Era coins, as mentioned earlier, exist in a completely different value category and can be life-changing finds. Because of its affordability in lower grades, the 1958 cent is often recommended to beginner collectors, while high-grade or era examples continue to attract advanced numismatists. Overall, the 1958 1 cent is far more than just a small copper coin. It is a historical artifact that marks the end of the wheat cent era, carries the enduring image of Abraham Lincoln, and connects collectors to nearly 50 years of American history. Whether found in loose change, inherited in a family collection, or purchased as a certified high-grade example, this coin tells a powerful story of tradition, transition, and timeless design. For collectors and history lovers alike, the 1958 1 cent remains a meaningful and fascinating piece of America's numismatic legacy. The story of the 1958 1 cent becomes even more interesting when we look at how collectors emotionally connect with this coin over time. Many people who collect wheat cents see the 1958 issue as a symbolic goodbye to a familiar design that had been part of everyday American life for generations. Parents and grandparents used these coins to buy candy, newspapers, and small household items, making the wheat cent deeply tied to personal memories. Because 1958 was the final year, many people unknowingly saved these coins at the time, sensing that something was ending even if they did not fully understand its future collector value. This is one reason why so many 1958 cents survive today in decent condition, tucked away in old jars, boxes, and family collections. Another important aspect of the 1958 1 cent is how it fits into long-term Lincoln cent collecting. Many collectors build complete date and mint sets of wheat cents, and the 1958 Philadelphia and 1958 D Denver coins are essential final pieces in those collections. While they are not the most difficult coins to find, collectors still search for the best possible examples with clean surfaces, strong strikes, and full wheat-year details. Even a small improvement in grade can significantly raise the coin's value, especially for red uncirculated examples. This makes the 1958 cent an excellent learning coin for collectors who want to understand grading, luster, and surface preservation. The Denver minted 1958 D cent often shows slightly sharper details than some Philadelphia issues, although this can vary by individual coin. Collectors sometimes notice stronger wheat lines or crisper lettering on Denver examples, which adds to their appeal. Still, Philadelphia coins are equally respected, especially in higher grades where strike quality becomes less important than overall eye appeal. Eye appeal plays a major role in the modern coin market, and a beautifully toned or vibrant red 1958 cent can attract strong competition at auctions, even though the date itself is common. When discussing storage and preservation, the 1958 1 cent provides an important lesson. Because it is made primarily of copper, it is highly sensitive to environmental conditions. Improper storage can lead to discoloration, spotting, or corrosion, which permanently reduces value. Coins stored in paper envelopes, plastic flips made with harmful materials, or humid environments often lose their original color over time. In contrast, coins stored in proper holders, such as inert plastic capsules or professionally graded slabs, can retain their beauty for decades. This is why many collectors choose to have high-quality 1958 cents certified, even though the coin itself is not rare, because certification protects the coin and confirms its authenticity and grade. The 1958 cent also plays a role in the broader conversation about changes in U.S. coinage materials. Only a few decades after its release, rising metal prices forced the U.S. Mint to reconsider copper usage. Compared to modern zinc-based cents, the 1958 coin feels heavier and more solid in the hand, which many collectors appreciate. This physical difference strengthens nostalgia for older coins and contributes to the growing interest in pre-1982 copper cents. While laws restrict melting coins for metal value, the intrinsic copper content still adds psychological value and long-term interest for collectors. In auctions and private sales, the 1958 1 cent continues to perform steadily rather than dramatically. It is not a coin that suddenly spikes in value overnight, but it has shown consistent demand over the years. High-grade examples regularly sell for respectable prices, and rare varieties remain highly sought after. This stability makes the coin attractive to collectors who value history and reliability over speculation. It also explains why the 1958 cent is often featured in educational videos, documentaries, and beginner collector guides, as it combines accessibility with deep historical meaning. Ultimately, the 1958 1 cent stands as a quiet but powerful reminder of how even the smallest coins can carry enormous historical weight. It marks the end of a beloved design, reflects the economic and cultural climate of 1950s America, and continues to inspire collectors across generations. Whether viewed as a simple copper penny or as the final page of the wheat cent story, the 1958 1 cent remains a timeless piece of American numismatic history, appreciated not just for its value, but for the story it tells every time it is held, examined, and passed down. Share this video and subscribe to the channel Rare Coins Value to learn the real value of rare and collectible coins.